What is a typical day like for you?
Well, but before all this, my days, I feel like there's two answers, right? Now and
Yeah.
before, you know,
Mhm.
because my answer would be no day is completely the same, and now my days look pretty much the same. But that's what I like about my job. I am constantly networking in the community. So I'm constantly going to different service clubs. I'm going into classes on campus. I'm going really anywhere and everywhere that I can talk about SACUS and talk about volunteering at SACUS. And then if I'm not out in the community, in speaking to a group of people, maybe we're doing a resource table. We're doing again, anything that we can get our information into the hands of somebody who either wants to volunteer with us or could benefit from our services. That's kind of what I'm doing. Other than that, I will then recruit and train volunteers. And so our volunteers work in many different aspects of our agency. So maybe we need volunteers to go with our preventionists into the schools. So kind of coordinating all the volunteers and all the different places they're going. I track all their hours. I host volunteer meetings. And then I coordinate and facilitate our 40-hour training as well. So right now we do 3 a year, 3 big 40-hour trainings. And so I'm constantly recruiting and facilitating for that as well. So no day really does look the same, which is part of why I like my job. I love being out in the community. I love, and I get to I have a lot of flexibility in my job. So I get to kind of map out my days, which is nice.
Oh, that
So,
is nice.
yeah.
What are some strengths and weaknesses of your career?
Strengths and weaknesses of my career. I would say, I'm trying to think. I would say a strength would be that, the biggest thing is that we are fighting, sexual violence, that we are, we've made it our mission to hopefully end that in my or whoever's lifetime. We serve, I want to say 13 counties, so we are a big agency that expands. It seems like every year we expand more, which is pretty incredible. So I just think getting to be a part of something that's so much bigger than me and a mission that's so much bigger, so sexual violence as a whole is something huge, but we try to tackle that every day, and we get to help a lot of people. So I'd say that's a strength. A weakness, I think, would be that we would kind of be the same thing, that that we deal with sexual violence every day, and that can be exhausting. And I would say that's the weakness, is that we have to deal with sexual violence. We have to, that our jobs even exist, I think, is a weakness. So hopefully that answered that.
Okay. With your job and any other careers in SACUS, is there anything are you guys ever on call for certain issues?
Yeah, definitely. We have a 24-hour hotline. And so that is a huge part of my job, because our volunteers mainly run our 24-hour hotline. But for every volunteer that's on our hotline, there's always a staff that's a backup for them. So that would still be, so that means I was on call on Saturday, so I'm always a backup. So then if I don't fill that volunteer spot, then it automatically goes to the staff. So we spend probably quite a few times a month, we're on a rotation where we'll be on call for the hotline. and then medical advocacy. Those are staff positions, but sometimes we have to fill in and things like that. So
Okay.
on-call is a big part of of our job.
How do you balance like your work and your personal life?
I feel like, I think I get asked this a lot when we go into like classrooms and things like that, because it's something that you kind of have to do when you work with such a heavy topic. And I think you just get really good at compartmentalizing, work and home. I live in Mattoon, so I have that little drive where I get to, I can kind of take off this hat and put on, the hat that is a wife and, a friend and all those things. And so I try to like listen to podcasts and kind of just so that drive home, I'm leaving all the work behind. But that being said, sometimes that's easier said than done. And so I would be lying if I said I didn't bring some of that home with me, because I do. But I also see a therapist. SACUS is someone who we definitely encourage people to go to therapy and, take care of their mental health. So things that I do to kind of balance that all out, because we're all human.
How do you handle burnout?
I definitely would say, I used to be, I still kind of am, I guess I should say, someone who says yes to everything. I like to, because I like, most of the things I say yes to are things that I really do want to do. Like I enjoy, but then I get, I kind of call it like plates that are spinning. So once you start spinning so many plates, you can't keep them all spinning well, right? And some of them are going to fall and all those things. And so I've learned to be very intentional about the plates that I have spinning, and realizing I have to set really hard boundaries. So when I am at home, we have interns. So when I'm at home, and the interns know this, we don't, after hours, unless it's an emergency, we don't have text conversations. We don't have, we save that for the next day. It's just setting those hard boundaries and separating work from home is a big one. And just not overcommitting to things, which I am notorious for, but I have learned to kind of reel back, because I can't do all of those things well. You know what I mean? And it's I want to focus on a few things and do them well.
Okay. What challenges do you face when helping individuals coping with trauma or traumatic experiences?
What experiences do I face? I would just say vicarious trauma is a real thing. When you, it can be traumatizing to help others with their trauma. It can be triggering in yourself. So that is why, as staff, we take time to debrief. We constantly are checking in with each other, especially now that we're at home. We check in with each other multiple times a day, because we're still working. Our hotline is still going. We're still taking calls. We're not slowing down at all. So yeah. Did that answer the question? Sometimes I start talking and then I'm like,
yeah.
Did I answer the question?
You're good.
So okay.
Are there any career opportunities in your organization that is considered without a bachelor's and master's degree? So
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead. Were you going to explain more?
No, it's fine. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like this question because I'm one of those people that was able to kind of I didn't have the degree per se when I started. So I will say all of our part-time positions are associate's degree required. So, which is really great and accessible to a lot of people. And then all the other jobs are bachelor's required. And then our counselors are licensed counselors, so they have their licensure.
Like, do you know what, like, major they, like, got, like, not major, masters they got in for, like, that to be a...
For counseling?
Yeah.
Counseling, it is the clinical counseling program on campus is where I believe all of our counselors, the program they all went through.
Okay.
But they all have to be, have their LPC, which is licensed professional counselors. So,
Okay.
But other people on staff have a wide variety of different degrees. Amanda, who does our prevention, she has her master's in communication. We have people who have their master's in like a bachelor's in like sociology. I did family and consumer science. We've had public health, so there's a very wide variety of different majors too. So.
Okay. What skills and experiences does a person need to be successful in your organization?
I would say public speaking would definitely be a good skill, just because it really doesn't matter your position. We probably all, I would say besides counselors, we all go into the community and talk to large groups of people. So I think being confident in speaking in front of others would be one. Being able to work independently, so not having to have someone tell you kind of what to do at all hours of the day, because we do work pretty independently. Our boss does not micromanage us at all. And I would say just being personable, being able to have empathy, when you're working with people, you kind of have to be able to connect with them. You know what I mean? So I would say personable is a big one. And I think you have to have a heart for wanting to help people, because if you don't this is not the type of job you just do because it's, pays money. Like this is the type of job, because it doesn't pay that much money, but this is the type of job that really, you get into it because you want to. You get into it because you want to help. I think it would be really hard to do this job if you didn't have a passion for people and helping and all those things. So,
are there any advancement opportunities in SACUS?
Definitely. Like when I started, I was the volunteer coordinator. When I graduated with my bachelor's, I was promoted to director of volunteer services. So that happened just from obtaining my bachelor's. And then I became a supervisor over our satellite office. So there's a volunteer coordinator there. So I became the supervisor of them and their volunteers. I definitely think there is room for growth. And the thing is, what's really cool about it is sometimes it's the growth. You have to kind of come up with those ideas, you know what I mean, yourself. So yeah, I definitely can speak to that component of it, because I just recently went through that, so it's just pretty great.
Nice. Are there any like relocation opportunities in your organization too?
We have a satellite office in Robinson, which is about an hour south of Charleston. So, I guess if the opportunity presented itself and it was beneficial, you could relocate to Robinson and still be within the agency. But not any really relocation. There are, like in the state of Illinois, there are, I believe, 33 rape crisis centers. So you could definitely relocate within Illinois and work at a rape crisis center, but it just wouldn't be SACUS.
Okay. There's one last question, and
Okay.
what are the safety risks for your organization?
I think there's sometimes is a little bit of a safety risk, I guess, if, when working with survivors, because, there are, you might encounter offenders and things like that. But for the most part, I would say there's really not, a lot of safety risk. I never feel like I'm at risk or things like that. We don't, it's not like we encounter offenders coming, looking for people and things like that. It's very, so I would say very few safety risk, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Sweet. Well, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. What are you in the Human Services or FCS?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Are you doing this for Jill Bowers' class?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, yes, I love Dr. Bowers, so very neat. Well, I hope that your semester is wrapping up well in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you need anything else from me, just reach out. Don't hesitate, and I'd be happy to help. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
You're very welcome. You too. Bye.